Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Sunday night live stream. We've got quite a few updates that I wanted to share with you because a lot of things happened over the weekend. So we'll talk about embassies reopen updates. I've got a list of quite a few embassies that I wanted to share with you, give you an update so you're aware which embassies are now operating on in which capacity, both for immigrant visas and for non-immigrant visas. I wanted to update you on the significance of the judge's decision from Friday, essentially blocking all new deferred action applications for DACA applicants. It's going to be also impacting what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks when it comes to immigration reform, and I wanted to share that with you as well. And also, probably in the next few days, the travel bans are going to be lifted. Biden is essentially working on this in the next week or so, and I wanted to mention that to you as well, in case you have an interest in that. So, if you're here for the first time, make sure to subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, also give us a big like, so YouTube will be able to share this video with more people just like you. And let's jump right in. All right. Welcome, everybody. Let me know where you are tuning in right now. Let me see if I can see the comments. We got a lot of Rodrigo and Susan and Angel and all that. We got Byron, Baja. Welcome. So we've got a lot to cover, and I wanted to, I've done quite a few videos about the backlogs, MVC backlog, embassy backlog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a bit of a background, and then we'll jump in into an embassy role. I'm going to go through a bunch of embassies, Moscow, Manila, Kenya. We're going to go through a lot of embassies, at least more than 15 embassies that I'm going to go through and give you some updates. Before we jump into that, remember that on Friday we had a big decision from Judge Hannon from Texas, essentially blocking new deferred action applications for those people that are currently here in the United States, were brought here as young children, and essentially no new DACA applications can be filed as of Friday. They also blocked all the biometrics for all the DACA applicants. Our clients are getting text messages from UCIS saying no more biometrics for first-time DACA applicants until further notice from the court, or if there's an appeal that is going to be filed. The reason why it's significant is because, as you know, right now with the reconciliation budget talks in the Senate, there could be a push for some sort of reform in immigration because of that court decision. Because if there's going to be no solution for DACA, somebody has to give them a permanent solution. Somebody has to continue that program in a different way if the court blocked it, and that could be the push that we're waiting for right now for some sort of a reform. So if nothing happens with DACA in the next week or so, I feel strongly that something is going to happen in that budget reconciliation deal, and we may see a little bit of movement, possibly getting the DREAM Act passed, possibly seeing the Promise Act for TPS. So, there must be a reason behind it. So we'll see. But right now, if you're watching this and you know somebody who is impacted by DACA, they are not able to file new applications, but existing cases can continue to be filed. Now, with respect to the travel bans, Biden met with Chancellor Merkel just a few days ago, and he specifically said they're reviewing with the CDC and their COVID team with respect to the travel bans. All the Schengen countries and all the other countries that are currently banned from entering the United States, and they have to quarantine for 2 weeks, those bans could be lifted as early as this week. As soon as that happens, I will probably update you with a video or on our other platforms. So it is definitely happening, and the reason it's important is because a lot of people are trying to enter the United States, whether it's essential travel, not essential travel. It just put a lot of restrictions on people being able to enter the United States, to start doing business as everything is reopening. and those travel bans are the last thing that needs to be lifted. So from our understanding, this may happen in the next week or so. Once again, guys, I'm going to get to some questions a little bit later. If you're here, give us the hearts, give us the likes. Share this video with somebody that may be interested to learn about what I'm going to be saying. So let's jump into the backlog. And like I said, I've done quite a few videos about backlog. And I wanted to mention something. So as I mentioned, right now, they've got over 566,000 cases that are documentary qualified at MVC, but only 34,000 cases were scheduled for interviews. Like I said, and I mentioned that in the previous video. Currently, more than 531,000 cases are still sitting there waiting to be sent to those embassies. And the reason why they're not able to be sent to those embassies is because the embassies are not opening appointments. And you'll see in a second why. Some of these embassies are working on a limited capacity, and therefore it is something that let me see here. These embassies are working on limited capacity, and that's why. See here. I'm gonna open. Here we go. And therefore, we need to have further information as to when they're going to be able to take those cases. So let's take a look at what we see here. I put a list of embassies and consulates that are open, and others are working on limited capacity, and I'm going to update you on each one. We're going to go through a list of these embassies. If it's of interest to you, stick around until the end. Maybe I'm going to reach your embassy, and if I'm not going to get there to your embassy today, I'm going to do another follow-up on this. So let's start with the Philippines. The Philippines, they remain suspended. Routine visa services remain suspended. They essentially work on the four tiers that I mentioned in previous videos. When they do reopen and establish regular flow, they're going to follow the tier that the immigrant visa State Department issued, which is basically immediate relatives, inter-country adoption visas, age-out cases is tier 1. Tier 2, immediate relatives visas, fiancé visas, and returning resident visas. Tier 3, family preference immigrants and special immigrants. And tier 4, all other immigrant visas, including employment-based cases. But again, right now Manila is working on a limited capacity, and they only process emergency appointments based on expedite. Non-immigrant visas, they again, they're not working on a regular capacity, but they are continuing to prioritize urgent matters based on NIE. And students and exchange visitors are also able to obtain appointments. But again, this embassy is not working on full capacity, and that's why a lot of our K1 visas, a lot of our CR1 cases are stuck in Manila, and the only thing that we can do right now is try to expedite or do something like that. Moving to Kenya, Nairobi, this US Embassy has resumed limited processing of immigrant visas. So they are processing immigrant visas, again, in a limited capacity, but they're still doing it. And the immigrant visas are being prioritized based on the 4-tier system that I just mentioned to you with Manila. Also, diversity visas with Nairobi, I know we have a lot of people that are checking on that, is very limited number of DV cases, and they're not able to accept diversity visa cases from other consular districts. So, I mentioned in previous videos that you are able to shop around and move your case between different embassies and consulates. Nairobi is not accepting that kind of post shopping. Non-immigrant visas in Nairobi, Kenya are also working on limited capacity only. Nigeria, Lagos, this embassy is also processing very limited number of non-immigrant and immigrant visas. Again, this embassy is not working on a regular capacity. And again, the reason I showed you the NVC backlog statistics in the beginning of this video is just because I wanted to let you know as to why these cases stuck at NVC, and because of embassies like Lagos and Manila that are not accepting cases on a regular basis, and those cases are sitting right now at NVC as a result. So Nigeria, Lagos are not working on a regular capacity. You have to request emergency appointments if you need to try to push your case forward. Non-immigrant visas, this embassy continue to prioritize travelers with urgent travel needs only at the moment. And again, this information is all coming from the State Department. We just kind of put it together in one source, but this is something that is available out there. Colombia, Bogota, we have a lot of applicants that are sending us text messages. I try to collect all the most common embassies that you guys are asking in the videos, so make sure you stick to the end. I may get to your embassy. And again, if you do have a need to get our services, I will post our text phone number in a few minutes so you can be able to get that. Colombia, Bogota, this embassy is processing a limited number of non-immigrant visas and immigrant visas. Essentially, very, very difficult to get appointments. Our 2 K1 visas that we were able to get from Colombia a couple of weeks ago were done through the expedite process that we help a lot of clients through the national interest exceptions. They were very accommodating. NVC was able to expedite their case, and Bogota was able to give us a very fast appointment at that point. Let's move to Ukraine. Immigrant visas, starting April 1st, this embassy started processing immigrant visas category, including K visas and diversity visas. This embassy is working not bad right now. In fact, we were able to move some cases from Moscow to Ukraine because of the issues that we have with that embassy that it's not processing cases. So Ukraine is working pretty good for immigrant visas. With respect to non-immigrant visas, they are working in a low capacity, which means that they are not prioritizing non-immigrant visas. Even if they're open, it's definitely more difficult to get those appointments processed. Moscow, as I mentioned before, this embassy is not taking regular appointments right now. And what we're trying to do with this particular post is move it to a third post like Kazakhstan or Warsaw. And it's been effective to see that they've been really receptive. What's happening in Canada? Again, this embassy has resumed US visa services and also some non-immigrant and immigrant visa services. With respect to Montreal, I wasn't able to put it in the notes, but I do have it here. They are working on immigrant visas on essentially regular capacity. They still don't have the volume of cases that we need, but they are processing cases. So if your cases are in Canada, you should be good to go. The same thing for non-immigrant visas. Vietnam, this embassy is working on low capacity because of safety concerns, I guess, at the embassy because of COVID-19. So it's still very difficult to get visas, immigrant or non-immigrant, from Vietnam. We had actually 2 cases. One is a CR1 that came out in a regular process, and the other one was a K1 that we were able to get out of Ho Chi Minh through an expedited. Pakistan is resumed limited immigrant and non-immigrant visas. So they're trying to work on a regular capacity. It's still very slow. They're really down on staff. But the good news is that we're starting to get some cases processed, some appointments. And also, this is a good embassy to try to expedite your case. There's been some good reception from NVC to move cases through the expedite process, specifically with Islamabad as well. With Mumbai, let's move to India. Student visas remain top priority for this US embassy. They're still able to get F1s, M1s if you're starting within 30 days of your semester. Right now, for actual visas, immigrant visas, it is also working quite slow right now, and we definitely recommend people to, if you have a good reason to try to expedite through the national interest exception, you might as well want to do that. Cases in China, Guangzhou, are operating normally right now. They actually have pretty good speed up of cases for immigrant visas, K1 visas, and other family petitions. They've also been very proactive with F visas, M visas, and other non-immigrant visas. They definitely have more consular officers in this embassy, and we see a lot of cooperation between the consular posts and the customers. UK and London, it's been obviously stuck with the travel bans. They do issue visas, but they're still working on emergency capacity only. There's no regular processing of these visas yet. So with respect, we've got a couple of more. We've got Dominican Republic, limited routine visa services available right now. They are expected to resume regular operations in about 2 weeks. And right now they will accept expedited cases if you qualify. Thailand, they resumed immigrant and non-immigrant visas. They're working on a pretty good capacity. And also Thailand is accepting cases from other countries in case your embassy is not able to process your applications correctly. So this has been pretty good to see. Jakarta is open on regular visa processing. They are working also in a more than a limited capacity, both for immigrant and non-immigrant visas. And we had a couple of cases there that came a couple of weeks ago as well. Mexico is working on limited capacity. It really depends on the city where your case is. Ciudad Juarez is starting to take a bit more appointment, but it's still very, very slow right now. And we've been having some success with filing expedited cases, specifically with that embassy in Ciudad Juarez. So Brazil is the last on the list. Suspended immigrant visa cases only. Only emergency appointments are available for immigrant visas, including K1s. However, we've seen success with F visas and M visas at their consulate as well. And so I think that it's going to continue to go as well. But we hope that as the pandemic they're going to catch on to that. They're going to be able to process more cases over there. So this is our roundup for today. Hopefully this is helpful. I'm going to try to do that once a month, an update on different embassies, which one is open, which one is working in less capacity. Once again, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, if you want help with your case, expedite, getting your case unstuck, any other thing, now is the opportunity to send us a text, 619-483-4549. We're going to do our best to help you with your case. I know that people are anxious right now and things are really moving slowly, but we are really proactive on this. We are on it. We are working with almost every single embassy in the world, and we want to get you results as well. Once again, in DACA, new DACA applications are not possible anymore with a court order from the judge. I announced this in the beginning of the stream from Friday. Travel bans may be canceled next week. Let's see what happens. And once again, guys, if you're here for the first time, do not forget to subscribe to our channel so you'll be notified of new videos that are coming out every single week and live videos like this. And also, at the bottom right here, you have information about new membership. We have a membership that is available for people if you go through the immigration process on your own, even if you have an attorney, if you need a second opinion, if you need a community to engage with, ask your questions. Every Thursday, we've got a Zoom call in there. Ask your questions in private, in confidence. Join immigrationu.com, our private community. I hope to see you there as well. Thanks for watching, guys. It's been a pleasure, and hopefully I can deliver some good news later this week. I love you all. Have a beautiful week ahead.